Hi, I'm Pastor Chester Hitchcock, and this is part 10 of my series that is titled, Is That Really in the Bible?, where we are looking at what some people call phantom texts. In part 9 of this series, it was titled, Will There Be Marriage in Heaven?, I dealt with the passage where Jesus told the Sadducees that there would be no marriage in heaven because we would be like the angels. Here in part 2, I want to take a deeper look at Jesus' words to the Sadducees. So let me remind you that in Mark chapter 12, the Sadducees wanted to trap Jesus, so they posed this hypothetical situation about a woman who had married a man, but the man had died before she had a chance to give him a son to continue his family tree. So as the custom was in those days, she married her dead husband's brother. And as the story goes on, he also died before she gave birth to a son, and she married each of the brothers, who ultimately were a total of 7 different brothers. And then the Sadducees asked this question in Mark chapter 12, verse 13. Now then, at the resurrection, whose wife will she be of the 7, since all of them were married to her? And Jesus answered, At the resurrection, people will neither marry nor be given in marriage. They will be like the angels in heaven. Mark 12:25. Here in part 2, I want to point out that the first thing that we need to acknowledge in this statement is that Jesus was dealing with a hypothetical question that was intended to trap him, not intended to seek true knowledge. With that in mind, we need to realize that Jesus' answer could very well have been hyperbolic in a way to throw them off the track with something that was very much true, but leaving out other truth that could be twisted. For example, Jesus gave another rather difficult statement to understand that most Christians consider very much to be hyperbolic, when he said that it is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of heaven. Now that story is about the rich young ruler, and it's generally not believed that rich people won't go to heaven. I mean, after all, Abraham died a rich man, and Job died a rich man, and King David died a rich man, and we can go down through the list of a lot of rich people who died that we look forward to seeing in heaven. But Jesus frequently used hyperbole when he was speaking to his critics. Let me share a parable that can demonstrate how Jesus' words about marriage in heaven can be a sort of hyperbolic smokescreen that wasn't intended to be a full description of heavenly relationships. My parable goes like this. An elementary student decides that he's going to try to trap his teacher with a question about art in front of the rest of the class. So he tells the teacher about another student who had been given 7 different colors of crayons to make a picture, but each crayon broke before she was able to finish her picture, and then the student asked the teacher this question: which color crayon will she be given when she gets to high school? The teacher knows that no matter what color she says, the kids are going to argue about whether the teacher knows what she's talking about or not. So the teacher comes up with an answer that goes over the head of the student who's trying to trap her and over the heads of the rest of the entire class as well. And the teacher says when she, that is the student, gets to high school, there won't be any crayons because she will be like the big kids who use paint. It's not that high school kids don't have crayons, but the difference is that high school kids' pictures are so superior to the elementary school kids' pictures that the question of crayons is sort of moot. Now follow this line of reasoning for a minute. Genesis chapter 3 verse 17 refers to the fact that Adam and Eve had been husband and wife even before sin existed. While there is no record of any formal type of marriage ceremony that was performed, their marriage per se was unlike any marriage that came after the fall. Therefore, if marriage prior to the fall was part of God's perfect plan, even before sin, why wouldn't that kind of marriage be in heaven? Yet for the sake of answering the Sadducees, Jesus could honestly say there won't be any marriage in heaven. Because marriage like that in a fallen, broken, sinful world, the kind of marriage that Sadducees and others would have been familiar with, won't exist. Unfortunately, many loving couples who would love to look forward to spending eternity married together have been taught that Jesus' words to those who were trying to trap him would rob them of their wonderful love that they shared on earth, leaving them to just have to have faith that they will be happy in heaven without each other. Here's the thing. There is a lot about heaven that we don't know, and we won't know until we get there. And marriage is certainly one of them. And a comment from Jesus to those who were trying to trap him should be taken within its context in the same way that we take his words about the rich not entering heaven. Therefore, if you have been blessed by finding someone to love and you would like to spend eternity married to them, don't be so quick to rule out that dream simply because of how Jesus responded to those who were trying to trick him or those who were refusing to follow him. I am quite sure that there will be plenty of people in heaven who were rich on earth, including Abraham. And I will not be surprised at all if marriage in heaven will look nothing like marriage here on earth, even for those who enjoyed marriage on earth. Yet there might very well be the kind of marriage that Adam and Eve enjoyed prior to sin. After all, marriage was part of God's perfect plan in the beginning. Why would he need to change that when he recreates us after the resurrection? So if this video has been helpful or interesting to you, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell and choose all to make sure that you get a notification the next time that I produce a video. God bless. I'll see you in the next video.